Hey folks, Mr. Justin here with Secret Weapon Miniatures, and back in the studio with
Emily Whitehouse, Orsiporian of Gundam fame. Glad to be back once again. I always love coming over, you know that.
Yeah, it was a good time last week, so we're doing a little crossover work again this week between Gundam and wargaming pieces, specifically looking at resin bases and how, at least in these circumstances, in some circumstances, scale really doesn't matter. And we can make a lot of fun things with the resin bases we've got. Before I do that, just a couple of quick project updates for those of you who've been following along for a while. Got the urban emplacement pieces all here at the studio so that I can start painting this piece up. And then I'm going to do more work on our urban terrain releases for you. In terms of the Kit Bash car, I haven't had a lot of time to work on this, but I did update the hood a bit, so we've got a 3D compartment there going through the top of the hood. And last but not least, I had to share, just because I found them in one of my way back when boxes. This is something I painted years and years and years ago. And I found my ecclesiarchy guys here. And so I'm actually going to take these guys and turn them into a kill team as well. I picked up a couple of models from that from my local Games Workshop store. Yeah, the Inquisitor, Greyfax, and the Primaris Chaplain, which I understand is a great kit. It certainly looks amazing. The box is fantastic. Yes. Very excited about it.
That's a very cool model.
Yeah, so I'm just going to take my Space Marines and, of course, my Militarum and make a kill team out of both of them and just be like, no, this is the might of the ecclesiarchy coming to kick some butt.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But here we go. We've got, well, terrain, gunpla stuff, bases. Where do you want to start, with the terrain or the bases?
Let's...
Did I remember to bring in the bases?
Yeah, they're over there. Yeah, we're
just
good.
checking.
No, we're good. We're on target today.
Except that our white balance keeps auto-adjusting.
That is weird.
We said that, turned that off.
Is that the white balance that's doing that, or is that something else? No, it's something. It gotta be something else that's doing that.
Exposure is to auto. There we go. Whoa, my God!
Convenient sheet of white paper to assist.
Hey, look, now we're even in focus, everybody. All right. Each week we'll improve this a bit.
We'll get the hang of it eventually.
Right? Anyhow, so where do you want to start? Bases or terrain?
Let's go ahead and start with the bases.
Okay.
Since Secret Weapon has so many wonderful basing themes.
Oh.
Well, you do. You keep coming out with more great ones, too.
Yeah, I like them too, but I'm maybe totally biased.
I mean, a little. So, we've got here is the Desert Basin and the Scrapyard sets. Both in what is we generally call the Night and the Flight sizes. These are the two that I find work the best when doing stuff with gunpla models, just because of the much larger size to them.
Well, I'd say probably any of the desert bases, especially, that work.
Well, I was more meaning to be able to fit a kit on it.
Oh, just the sizes, you mean,
yeah.
not necessarily the themes.
Yeah. A number of the themes will work. There's very few that actually won't work, to be honest. As long as you get a little creative with what you're going to paint in and how you're going to do up the base, in addition to just the bare resin.
Mm.
But yeah, I find that the flight bases are really good for the 1/144s, and the night bases are really good for the 1/100s, as the camera can not quite contain.
Yeah.
The nights are also really good if you want to put two 1/144s onto a single base and have them do like a duel or something.
A little dueler diorama on these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how you'd easily fit two of these guys on here.
Yeah. Or if you want to put like another element on there of some troops or a little vehicle or something.
It's amazing. I'd kick your butt.
Yeah.
That's how that would work.
It would. Character unit versus grunt.
Yes.
Now, the scrapyard is a little bit... has some scale issues for some parts of it. It's not quite as scale agnostic as Desert Basin is, because you can see a number of elements on here that...
yeah, particularly like the reinforced barrel here.
And a really good way to picture that is I have here a 1/144 scale human.
So let's, for the wargaming crowd out there, if you're looking at the difference in scale between Gunpla and 40K, I'm just going to stick that guy right there on his little base. Boop! So
there's just a tiny little scale difference there, yeah.
Yeah. Nominal. This guy's going to go check out that barrel because the pilot's definitely going to be thinking, like, what the hell? That's one big barrel.
Which, I mean, maybe 30-foot tall barrel. It's probably not 30 feet. It's probably about 15 feet tall barrel. You could possibly consider that being a lubricant container for a mobile suit, because you're going to go through a lot of lubricant and in a maintenance bay.
I can see that. I mean, you could certainly dress it up with some freehander decals to make it clear that it's, discarded ordnance shell, lubrication, that sort of thing. Especially since this one is actually pitted on the top. I mean, you could actually have some, use the old oil to leak some color out, or even the in that case, since we're talking about a Gundam, maybe the engine fluid, the blue stuff.
Yeah.
That way it's got a nice sheen and it's interesting. Yeah.
The only other element on here that really sticks out as being possibly out of place is this. What is that? A barrel as well, or is that it's just a cylinder of some sort?
Just a cylinder of some sort.
Which, if you look at the machine gun that the Leo uses, it's pretty similar.
Oh yeah.
So you could easily dress them up the same way and have it just be a discarded machine gun barrel.
Sure. And goodness knows that on the Gunpla kits there are enough references, and if you pick up the decals and whatnot, you can either freehand it from reference or decal it up where you've actually got all of the markings and whatnot. And suddenly it makes sense. And now I actually find this whole scene right here kind of compelling, with a little human wandering through the
wasteland. Yeah, I mean, I might even say, take, an arm or a head from another kit and just lay it in the scrapyard as well. And then, that'd just be... Yeah, like that.
Yeah, it's a scene. And then covered some Gunpla parts. This is why I was practicing my cell shading techniques recently. Nope.
Now,
I wouldn't be doing that. Actually, here you go, too. I've actually got one of the vehicles here.
Oh, yeah, there you go. He's just parked there. Get out, look around.
Maybe throw some gear on the top, some junk on the top. Goodness knows I've actually got piles of this junk, so that would be easy for me.
Yeah. Now, the one thing with Gunpla where scale actually doesn't quite matter at all is with SDs.
Yeah, that's
because SDs are just going to be whatever you want them to be. And you can do a lot of really fun stuff with them. Them and the petite guys that I know you love work really well with pretty much any scale of stuff.
I'm a giant robot. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
I love these little SD kits. My wife is now collecting the SD kits.
Awesome.
I have my petite guy collection. What do we figure? I said it was 23 last time, and I was wrong, because I found a bunch of kits in the garage. Much to your dismay after getting me one of the kits I was missing. Thank you again. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually 8 or 9 kits I'm missing, and of course they're all the Japan exclusives.
We're working on it. Yeah.
We'll
get them for you eventually.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not in a giant hurry. It's
not I know.
Passion for me like it is for Ray. But it is fun. I like those little kids.
Yeah.
Good time. But all right. Was that it for the bases you got?
I think that's pretty much it for the bases. I mean, it's most of the themes are scale agnostic, or can be. I don't want to say corrected, but can be corrected in a way to make them work for pretty much any kit, to be able to not be jarringly out of scale.
Yeah. Well, and we can always, like you said, detail it up with a little set dressing. So,
Yeah, a little bit of set dressing goes a long way.
yeah. Yeah, at that point, like, once this is on here, none of that looks out of scale anymore.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, yeah, okay, suddenly this all makes sense. I have a reference. And that really helps with the suits, because with the suit it might seem out of scale, but throw in
once you have something else in there, yeah.
Yep, throw in a scale reference that makes sense, and the things you learn. See, hey, Jess Rich, welcome. Nice to see you again. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I keep forgetting to go through my normal thank you for tuning in speech, but somehow I think we'll survive. We do have some other terrain here. I actually want to talk about some Juwila bits and some secret weapon stuff. I've got a pile of the Juwila stuff here that I use for making terrain myself, particularly tank traps. I love their tank traps and their bricks. But like, this is a good one.
This is the one that never goes back in the box, right?
I've got it down to a science now.
Oh, good.
But these are the porcupine tank traps. Yeah, and they're great, and they do actually work at this scale. They'd be giant, but if you were trying to put tank traps down for gunpla, they'd be giant.
Which, yeah, I mean, there's stuff like the Zaku tank, the gun tank. Those would all need something much larger than your standard tank to really hinder.
A little bit like, you know, this guy trying to wander through them. It's the sort of thing that, you know, civilian vehicles could easily get through, but
not a mobile suit, yeah.
You know, and that's how they'd stagger them out. So there's fun stuff we can do like that too. And of course, because it's Juwila, these are actually the baked ceramic. Oof.
That's a wonderful sound. Please don't do it.
I want to do it again. Making everybody think of their dentist, right? But yeah, these are great pieces, and I'll be featuring some of these in our terrain. To give a sense of how that works against a 1/48th, this is again a 6x6 turret from Secret Weapon, and you can see the scale here is right for tanks of that size. Against 1/56th, boom. Yeah, these Juwila tank traps are just...
Yeah, they work out pretty well for a lot of sizes. I mean, even if you take the little APC, the hover tank APC from the Gundam kit, with that.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, that's still...
Yeah.
Like if we set up this scene again.
And it's still gonna... Like, we'll impair that as well, but it wouldn't impair a car at that scale.
Yeah, and so, you know, here's the little human guy wandering through, you know, put a few of the guys on, like, the jet bikes or whatever.
Yeah.
And we've got a great little scene. It doesn't take much detail.
Just a little bit of thinking around and playing with stuff.
I said I got this to a science, and now that everyone's watching, I must do it.
It's a good thing you're doing it partially off camera so nobody can see.
I'll be here all week. Tip the veal. Alright, what other terrain pieces we were looking at? Oh, we had the little Juwila pieces I had here, the bricks. Of course, these are ostensibly the 1/48 scale bricks that we sell loose and on the FlexiWay sheets, the little bendy sheets, which are so great. But this is another one where, you know, sure enough, against a human, it's certainly going to be a large brick. It just makes it an industrial scale brick, right? So we could still put these flat on the side of buildings. It would make less sense on the ground, but that's why we have the like 1/72nd scale bricks as well.
Yeah.
Those work. They're closer. But you had some terrain picked out here.
I did. Well, I really enjoy the little barriers.
Mm-hmm. The K-rails or Jersey barriers.
The power generators are always fun as well.
Gray, which will be more visible.
As are the little dragon traps.
Get out! More visible.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and certainly all of these. Now, I was surprised when you picked out the K-rail.
Well, they're not going to be the same purpose as they would be for, like, in a war game, but they would be a good wall around a base or a facility, because that's then going to end up being that, like, 30-foot wall that you would expect around that.
I hadn't considered that. You're absolutely right. So there's our little guy. Actually, for that matter, you could put a... oh, my gosh. Woo! Hey, come back, guy. turn this into a firing step, and just by serendipity, I can't get it to stay, so I'll have to hold it right here. The base doesn't quite fit in that spot, but the little guy certainly would. They happen to line up perfectly with the pickup holes, so we can actually drill that out
and have a little firing spot.
Have a little firing spot right there. Yeah.
The little guy with the tiny little machine gun shooting at mobile suits as they're approaching.
Or a spotter, maybe. You know, he's got his little. We've got these two guys up here with their little spotters, and then a little sniper behind him with his gun on the thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're making it up as we go. And then, of course, the really scale agnostic generators. I've seen a lot of folks pick these up for X-Wing. Yeah, certainly my X-Wing bag has a couple of these in there too, so that I can bring terrain with me. Yeah, I brought a bunch of ground terrain instead of the usual pile of foam asteroids. And yeah, these are totally scale agnostic. The other nice thing about these is that we did design it as a full half circle, so you can put them together. One of the things that I had always wanted to do with these is put a pair of them on the AdMech terrain. So just put us on the wall of a building and part of my AdMech thing. Super work. Oh yeah, there you go. Nice.
I like playing with my toys.
Yeah, watch out for this guy's pew 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 pew. And then your other thing was our Gothic tank traps. Now these, it's going to be hard to see because it's all black. I don't have any in here that aren't primed. I need to paint all of this terrain, which is why I was sitting around. But these, there you go, you can see that a bit. These are our Gothic tank traps. Excuse me, and while they work as a scale agnostic tank trap again, one of the things that I suggested before the show, mostly as a goof, but now I love the idea, is that you could actually cut off the pickup loops there and add a little door, because hey, guess what? Hey, little bunker! Look at my little bunker! I'm easily entertained. Oh yeah, here's a great pose from M. This guy standing on his K-rail.
Like I said, I just love playing with them.
Yeah. Well, and that's still the thing that blew me away with my first gunpla, was the fact that they are so opposable. The fact that I still have, like, you know, the Zaku Amazing here is a finished kit.
Just needs its head and power cables.
Yes. But I mean, the kit itself is actually finished. And unlike most, I mean, I can still bend and flex and pose this guy, so that once I get the rest of the detailing on him, and then the weathering, then I'm going to put it on the base, and then I'm going to pose it.
And as much as I was talking about having the night and flight bases be the best options for gunpla, really anything up to, like, from the 50 mil, 55 mil that this is will work, because you know,
I'm using a 130 round at the moment for this guy.
Yeah. So that's 55 from the Silent Halls coming out, or I think that might be the one that's not getting put in that.
That's the one that's not getting put in.
Well, it gives you the basic idea of Silent Halls on there, and that works really well for the 1144, especially the smaller AU suits. And you could, the 65s and whatnot all will make nice little tiny display space like pills. That's another the word I'm thinking of.
Plinths.
Plinths, yes. Just a little something to make it stand out a bit more than just sitting it on a table or on a shelf or something.
Yeah. No, it looks great, and I know seeing all of your gunpla on our bases was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of what inspired the mech line, so.
Am I constantly insisting?
Yes, yeah. It's definitely a fun market, and I'm glad to be reaching out. A real appreciation for quality paint and product there.
Yeah.
And a willingness to experiment that you don't always find in other markets, so it's nice. Wow, that makes this the shortest show we've ever done. We're 23 minutes in, and that's what we got, isn't it?
That is a lot of talking about bases and scales and whatnot. Any questions from the community?
Somehow I thought that would last longer.
We'll plan these out better.
Yeah, definitely do that. Well, the good news is, I mean, I've always got stuff on my desk that I'm working on, so I can talk about that stuff or take questions from the community. Of course, taking your questions is my favorite part of the job, because that means you guys are engaged. Well, I was going to start talking about making terrain next week, but I suppose I can start talking about making terrain now, because I also need to make terrain for the Silent Halls sets, particularly some objective markers.
Ooh.
Make sure I've got all the components I needed for that. Ooh, some drop things.
Lots of fun off screen.
Yeah, my little work bin here is overflowing with projects.
Lots of little goodies.
Hey, I can show off the tatami mat bases now on actual cameras that work. Alright.
Well, we've got a question from Charles. He's wondering, how would you shade and highlight orange?
That's a fine question. And that is going to be one of those questions I answer with a depends. And probably with an airbrush. But that's just me being cheeky. Yeah, we can cover that. I'll need to paint something orange, but...
I think you had a lava flow base there.
Oh god, I won't paint lava flow bases. True confession, I suck at lava. No, like seriously, every attempt I ever made is just so embarrassingly bad. I have sat down at cons with friends who are very good at it. I've been like, no, Justin, watch. Just this, that, and the other thing. Look how easy that is. You totally go, oh my god, Justin. You really can't paint lava, can you? I'm like, I'm not kidding.
It's like me painting anime-style eyes. Just doesn't happen.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't happen. Well, my bin full of the Silent Hall stuff is missing, which is interesting.
That's not good.
We'll keep these folks talking. I'll come back to orange in a minute, and I really was hoping to build some terrain today. That would actually make me really happy.
It would be fun to see some more terrain for Silent Halls and anything else you've got over there.
Hey, I found my rust yellow.
Oh, good. We were looking for that last week.
Yep.
Let's see. He's asking about using a non-intuitive color, which would probably be something like how shading yellow with purple works out pretty well.
Yeah, shading orange with, that'd be blue.
Would it be blue?
Yeah, the opposing color of orange. Yeah, blue orange. Yeah, we can do that. Let me find something real quick over here that's primed.
We've got those bases. To at least, just have something.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'll use this one right here. Alright, and there's that. I'm going to put these on that giant pile. I really am curious what happened to my Silent Hall's terrain bin, because, gosh darn it, that's kind of an important thing for me to finish. Oh, this remodel. The cabinets are going in on Wednesday, and I'll be done with this for a while. It'll be great.
Is that going to impact next week's stream?
Yeah! No stream next week, I think. Maybe. Maybe we'll do it while they're installing. That'll be fun, too.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you guys to the assembly and installation team.
Just
right.
In the background, so much going on.
Could you check this drawer here? Yep, that one with the paint on it.
I mean, I know there's paint in all of these drawers, and on all of these drawers.
With the acrylic paints. I don't know about, that's a little more yellow. I love Hearthfire, but something orangey. And
oh, here's another yellow rust.
perfect. Alright, these will do. I'll make this work. And I need a brush. Gotta have a brush. Thank you. So in this case, I'm using Hearthfire and, what is this one again? Trolled Blood base. And the Hearthfire is a little more yellow than orange. It's goldenrod, frankly, which is my favorite color.
It is a very pretty color.
It's also why I don't generally answer when people ask what my favorite color is, because I'm very specific. No, it's goldenrod. In the yellow range, not the orange range goldenrod. that layer dry. Find a sock.
You know, one of my favorite sort of painting and visual styles is that black and white with a single color being just the only color. And seeing that base in the step on the screen there, you know.
Oh, you like that?
I like that a lot.
Can you check for another more red orange in there for me too, please? I'll do another section here. I should have some in the Reaper range.
You should.
Because the rest orange. I also have an 8-year-old, so.
I know that there is an orange in here somewhere because I've seen kits that have orange all over it.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not empty at this point.
Yeah.
It may also be on that little tiny rack above you. Seamus stuck a bunch of paints in one of the MDF racks that someone sent me. In the interim, I will get my brush wet and throw on a second color, or a second coat. No, the other one was still too wet.
I see many, many yellows.
Many, many yellows, huh?
Yeah.
I know where to look. Actually, I may have one in my paint pile. Here.
Throw the dollar rolly at you. Second.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I should have orange fire right there.
Yeah.
So while I shake this up, here is, now that we've got the cameras working, here is that tatami mat texture I was trying to share with you guys last week. All the individual weaving through here.
I think some dry brushing on that. It's going to look very nice.
Yeah. So we'll have a interior accessories kit that will join that exterior accessories kit I was able to show you last week.
Looking forward to all of those.
Yeah. All right, let me see how we'll paint that panel right there. Hey, I shook you. They watched me shake you.
Didn't shake it enough.
Yeah, clearly. Oh, you know what I did? I shook it, but I didn't.
You didn't empty the dropper?
Yep. You are a translucent color and not an opaque color. Which is good because you can actually see how the zenithal highlighting is supposed to work. It's one of the reasons I don't generally do it. We did it for these bases only to show off the texture. Alright, that is still damp. Now what I will do is actually brighten it with some ink.
That's interesting, though, because I enjoy doing the zenithal highlighting on kits when I'm painting them.
The challenge I find is that if you're using it with translucence as a pre-shade, which is what this is here, in that case you're simply desaturating the color with black. And if I'm going to pre-shade a kit, I'm going to do it with a complementary or opposing color depending on my approach. So, like where this guy was shaded, it's with a purple. I wouldn't want to shade him with a black there because it's just going to make the red look flat. So I don't generally shade with straight black. these dry for a few more seconds. My go-to color for a long time, Jess is saying that hers is Felto green, and my go-to paint for the longest time was sanguine base. Now I have other colors like Old Rust, which is in a similar range, but behaves much differently when it's thinned. Yeah, it's still goopy. All right, what else do I got? What else do I got? I was looking for the thing. Yeah, it really is. What am I doing?
Yeah, I don't know what you did with that.
It could be in the Julia box. Nope. Yeah, I had that whole pile of it. All my little sheets and everything. Could be. Ugh. This, folks, is the other box of things that I am required to paint.
One day.
These are my paint assignments, or in this case, there's some Juila stuff in here for the train I'm working on. We have FlexiWay cobblestones now. It just makes me giddy. I'm going to show off the FlexiWay because some of you may not have seen the FlexiWay sheets. So by now, I hope everybody knows that Juila makes those awesome individual bricks. But this is a sheet of FlexiWay.
Oh, that's really cool.
So these are all the bricks attached to this sheet, and put that over some putty, and because it's flexi, it'll follow the contours and everything. So you do small bits of that, like let's just say you want to do your, medieval town or something. You take a couple of, well, in this case I'll use this to make it dramatic for the screen. But you take a couple of lozenges of putty or something, and you can do this on both sides to make wheel ruts or whatnot, the other way around if you're raising it, and lower two little sections. Come back up again. Little gutters. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love the FlexiWay. The FlexiWay just makes me giddy. But it's still not what I was looking for. I can show off product, and that's nice. Yeah, this should all be the flight bases and such I need to paint. And then the train building accessories. Yeah, that is weird. Oh, it's almost like when you're remodeling, everything gets lost. And hey, there's the paint I was looking for. It's like my nightmare scenario. Finally in the studio, and I can't find anything. Wow, it's still wet.
Well, it's fine. For the Halloween broadcast, at least, you'll have the whole new studio set up. You'll have everything where you want it, because you'll have gotten everything organized by the next week.
There's actually a fair chance that's true.
That's fair.
All right. Well, I'm tired of making you wait. So I'm just going to do some wet blending, because why the heck not? So this is my troll blood base, right? Yep, troll blood base. So I'm just going to come into this corner here where it's still wet. Stipple some of this in. Get my brush damp. And start blending it out.
Charles says he's working on a dress that he started with the orange rust for the shadow, and my mid-tone is Reaper's Explosion Orange.
Nice.
But I need to push the shade a bit further.
Take the yellow back. The Hearth Fire. Cute. So now I'm just feathering that color out because it's all still wet blending here. Use my brush to pull off some of that excess yellow. Brush damp to help integrate these colors. Just a little water. Blending. A little more yellow from the top. Bring that down a bit. Got my little edge highlight there.
It's a very nice little blending you got going on. Maybe next week we'll do live from the living room.
Nah, we'll do what all the kids do these days and go to Starbucks.
Okay, that works. Well, I figured you wanted to stay here while they're doing the
Yeah,
cabinets.
totally do. Is there a nice dark blue in there?
There might be.
There should be Exile blue right over here. Yeah, there it is right here.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, excuse me. This is Signar blue base.
Oh, wow.
Now this is going to make my yellow shift orange all go down to greens, obviously, but you're talking about blending non-intuitive colors. That's certainly a way to do it. With a red shift orange, it's going to behave differently. And I think I have one of those handy. Because I just found that bag of paint. Oh, son. I do love you. Stop taking my paints. Alright, I will make one.
So we'll just get you like a couple of dozen racks of paint, and we'll have them every spot labeled so you know exactly which paint is missing.
Try a couple of these over here, see which ones I like. A little bit of seed.
Some nice colors.
It's gonna be there we go. That's an orange.
Yeah.
Perfect. A little bit of the iron paint to give us a nice kind of pumpkin spice orange here. And I'll do that, in fact, right next to this. That went up a little more salmon, so let's add a little more brightness to it.
Just need some of those nice new Mecha line oranges.
I know, right? A little more yellow. There we go. It's a much truer orange for you. And it's going to be a red shift because we've got the magenta in there. Actually, let me try that. So, Seamus always goes for my reds and my oranges.
The boy knows what he likes.
He does. Let's try this with the yellow ochre. Exactly red shift. But doesn't always give me the color you want. There, that'll guarantee my red shift. Almost the same color. But now it's guaranteed to be a red shift for us. So, anything we're missing there? In this case, I'm actually going to come back to my troll blood base.
A bit of talk about paint colors.
Because again, I want you to see how very different the result is on our yellow shift versus our red shift here.
That's a nice gradient.
Thank you. When I stop trying to treat acrylics like watercolors, I'm actually fairly good at using them. I just now start thinking about these as tiny canvases and not miniatures. So I keep trying to do it like Quebecois style, right? It's all glaze, 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 and oh my god, I can't. It always looks so chalky for me, so now I've learned like I can glaze when I'm done doing my thing. So yeah, here are those two very different. So again, I used Hearthfire and Troll Blood base on this side, and over here I made a custom orange out of it wound up yellow ochre and clear red. And yeah, you can see that the shifts are very different. But I do enjoy shading colors like this. This combination is one of my favorites. That and teal to purple. But this is using opposing colors. Obviously you can desaturate and have some fun with other things. Yeah. Yeah.
That worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I gotta paint a thing.
Yeah.
I like painting. Alright, so we had another question. That was the orange. I was going to do terrain with things that
don't exist, apparently.
Oh my god, I can't wait for this to be over. Not the show, the remodel, just for people tuning in late. I love you guys, but yeah, having the remodel going on now for months because we were waiting for the cabinets and timing and cash flow and
It'll soon all be over.
Yeah.
And then, you know.
I'll have entirely new nightmares.
Yeah.
Trying to unpack the boxes and convincing my 8-year-old son that he does not need to keep everything that I throw away. That has been a struggle. As I've started going through stuff, I'm like, all right, this is not useful anymore. And Seamus keeps holding on to it. He's like, Papa, I want that.
He's
so
such
now
a good kid.
It's a simple thing for me. I'm like, all right, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? What is the function of this thing of mine that you are taking? Yeah, that's a good point. Paints don't always behave the way you want. So here's a good example. This is why I'm going to be teaching a practical color theory class. I had that red out. Okay, red is still out. And here's pure blue. Clear blue. So the Reaper line includes their clear paints, which is a clear base and a single pigment. Ours will be the pure line, and it's coming out as a line of artist colors with a different formulation, but the same idea, that it's only the one color. And I will be doing practical color theory classes because one of my favorite things to show people is how I can take red, and I can take blue, and they won't make purple ever. Pure red, pure blue, nothing else in these pigments. Here's my red, here's my blue. You're thinking, Justin, that's absolutely purple. It's just too dark, all right? A lot of red over here. Let me get my brush clean. And a tiny bit of blue. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Brush is absolutely clean now. List it off. A lot of red. Tiny bit of blue. And you note, that is not, under any circumstance, going purple. It goes brown.
It's a nice shaded brown.
Yeah.
But it is not a purple.
like their burgundy wine color, but it's going to shift because it's a blue shift, or red shift blue.
Enhance that a little bit more. Let's go ahead and throw this white sheet under there, just to try to get your eyes to focus correctly. Jess mentions that clear blue is the impossible to dilute color.
But a spot of blue and a spot of clear magenta, and I actually have a beautiful purple. Oh, it's really blue on the screen there. Interesting. Does it have it maybe? No, it still comes blue.
It's still coming kind of purpley, but it's a purpley blue. It's not the purple color that you're seeing in person.
No.
We'll continue to mess with this white balance, and we'll get there. And that also could be your monitor.
Yeah, that's true too.
Color now I feel like screens is fun.
Sign this, and this is going to be this week's giveaway is Abstract by Justin.
Yeah.
I've considered
some lucky order this week will get this included with their package.
Oh, when I tilted the paper to the side, it was very purple. There we go. Somebody got to see it. Apparently, I also need to adjust the white balance of my monitor, which is exciting because having adjusted the white balance on the screens, we might be blue.
Well, it's a good thing that you know somebody who knows how to fix all of that. So,
ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Well, once you get your refurb done in here and this layout inevitably changes in some degree, we can get all that fixed up.
Well, the good news, my desk is done. Not obviously with all the mess at the moment.
Well, you need to adjust your lighting situation because those lights up there are not good.
I'm still going to dig for the terrain bits because this makes no sense.
Would they be in the garage? By any weird chance?
I suppose that makes more sense than digging through here. So you want to keep folks entertained?
I can try. That's fine.
All the bases falling down that I'm supposed to be painting.
Yes, cyan and blues in general are really rough on screens. As you can see, my hair color is not actually this particular shade of blue. It's actually kind of goes more to like a green down here, and it's just all looking bluish, yellow kind of color. It's not right. In addition to my skin being blown out. But whatever. So yeah, next week I guess we'll be doing something completely different for the stream. And the week after that will be Halloween, so I think we're going to work on Field of Screams and probably just have some general Halloween-y fun. I'm going to explore Justin's desk while he's away and see what fun goodies he's got over here. Any questions from the audience that I might be able to try to answer, or possibly answer pretty well? Always fun for question answers. Justin's camera. There's too much headspace. This is all my experience with doing video editing and camera work. Just is driving me nuts with Justin's setup here. There's so much headspace, the color's all wrong. It just fast forward, stop motion filming. I have done some stop motion work in the past. I used to do a bunch of Lego stop motion videos, which that was when I was a kid. I borrowed my grandmother's camcorder and just built a little Lego city and did all sorts of Godzilla battles and stuff with Legos, and that was a lot of fun. hidden Manhattans. I don't currently see any hidden Manhattans. I see Red Bull cans that need to get tossed, but no hidden Manhattans. Unless they're, like, disguised as something else. Like, you know, it could be... This realistic order could secretly be a Manhattan, but... I have my doubts on that. Exploring the color gradient here too. Really love how that looks. That with the black and the gray and the little bit of color. Everybody enjoys a good dancing Gundam. Yeah. Or in this case, Leo.
You're good. None of my terrain stuff is in the garage, which means that...
It's all going to be over here somewhere?
Yeah, but there's 2 bins missing from here. So I wonder if when I took the bases, I have the terrain stuff in the bottom of that. So I think I might have taken it to the warehouse.
Oh, that's a good place for it.
Yeah. These things happen.
Yeah. You want your seat?
No, I don't care. What are we doing?
I don't know. We're talking. I was dancing with the Gundam kid earlier.
Hidden Manhattans everywhere. I don't have a Manhattan. Am I supposed to be having a Manhattan?
Well, I was saying that, you know, they could be, like, disguised. Like, this realistic order could totally be a Manhattan, possibly, but I doubt it. It's kind of the wrong mixture and consistency. It'd be a very bad Manhattan.
It'd be a very bad Manhattan. I've had some of those. When they come to your table, candy red, and you're like, oh, you put grenadine in here for me. Thank you. That's going to be just atrocious.
Also, just looking at showing off stuff that's on your desk here, just playing around with your toys.
Ah, that's fair. That little terrain wall right there, see it next to the silver, next to my infinity case, next to the guy in the column. That gray block to your left.
This?
To your left. Yes. Is the other one up there too, or just that one?
It looks like just this one.
Oh, okay. So this is just a test piece. And testing textures, but I intend to make them aligned so that this set can be interlocking. So right here, and on the ends and whatnot, you know, each of these spots will be being widened so that we can fit the planks on in there.
That'll be pretty nice.
Work for fantasy or War Machine or 40K if you like.
Yeah. I can see this in pretty much any setting.
Yeah. And Jonathan, no, I work for Secret Weapon Miniatures, and Emily is a dear friend of mine, and her husband works for Secret Weapon Miniatures. He's joined us last month.
Yeah.
As one of our casters, and is currently in charge of our contract casting department, which will be officially launching in January after I have a chance to get in there and fiddle with things like I do.
You enjoy your fiddling.
I do. Yeah, my part of my background prior to Secret Weapon was process analytics, so I've done that for assembly lines and whatnot. And yeah, it's. I'm glad to have time again to get into the warehouse and fiddle with assembly lines and whatnot.
It'll be good. You'll have fun rearranging everything in there, and after you get done rearranging in here, to go do the exact same thing in the warehouse.
Yep. And then making paint. Yay! Yeah, Jess, we will definitely hook you up with some contract casting.
Yeah.
Still some bugs to work out, but nothing that's affecting quality, just timeliness at the moment. So now I'm checking to see whether or not Seamus took my bits.
They gotta be around here somewhere.
Well, he got all of the Silent Hall's rejects.
Oh, okay.
So I gave them all to him.
Except this one, apparently.
I'm actually not sure that's because that's the 55.
It's
leaking sand everywhere. I doubt you guys will be able to see that, but Mike, how much sand is in this thing? Holy crap! I'll probably stop putting it on my floor.
If you could stop throwing sand at me, that'd be great.
Yeah, right. Wow, that was a lot.
It was.
I don't even know. All right. But yeah, he got all of the Silent Hall's rejects, so you can see the... Well, here, if you'll show that off. The incredible work he's done with those.
It's a lot of fun with this, it looks like.
He was actually just testing out different plaster carving materials because he wanted to try and come up with different ways for me to texture things. So that was fun. Is he took out all of my tool bins that I would use for a whole bunch of different stuff and just started dicking about with them. And he did come up with some cool textures and some cool ideas for me. And he actually gave me an idea, which is that the one in the back left corner by your thumb. I like that texture, and he told me how to do it.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice texture.
This is the first base he made, kind of, sort of, under my tutelage. We were working on bases together.
That's pretty cool. So when does this one come out?
Yeah. Well, he keeps asking me. He keeps doing one-offs like this and saying, well, Papa, you know, can I sell this now and make some money? And I've told him the truth. Okay, if you are willing to take art direction from me on a line of bases, I will pay you for that, just like I would pay anybody else. But it has to meet certain standards, and you're going to have to sculpt a lot of them. And so he likes the idea, and that's why he agreed to do that one with me.
Yeah, I can see where there'd be a few things that need a bit patched up for casting, but it looks pretty nice.
Right. As the art director, I would definitely have some changes to recommend.
Yeah, I could have fun with that.
Sure. But no, my terrain stuff isn't in there either. That's alright. I suppose I can make the urban terrain. I have all this stuff for that.
Hi, folks. Bunch of people asking for me.
Oh, yeah? Hey!
That's right. I'm the famous one.
Well, that's true. Jonathan, no, you figured I had an art background. Oh, my good golly gosh, no. I gave up art because everybody told me to. What else are you going to do? Sort of thing. Literally, I knew I wanted to build and paint models when I was 6. I mean, I'd seen Star Wars. Who didn't want to build and paint models, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she said, like, I'm making earthquakes. No, but everybody would pat me on the back, and what else do you want to do? So I actually went through marketing, advertising. In terms of professional career, I've done a lot of other things. Yeah. But anyway, marketing, advertising, process analytics, business planning. My last actual real job was executive director of a behavioral intervention services company with more than 150 employees up and down the coast, largely providing in-home and in-class autism intervention services. But yeah, I went from that to this. And that was all my wife's idea. So I had written a business plan for a base business while I was at my old job because I was bored. And I missed making business plans. And so I had this, and when I told, or not told my wife, when my wife and I decided that I would leave my job to be home with our kid, I was like, well, I'll just do commission painting, and that'll be fine. And yeah, she was like, well, what about that business plan? I said, well, I don't know anything about that market. And she said, yeah, and you didn't know anything about any other market either, so get to work. This is all her fault.
She's the smart one.
She is, yeah. Best mistake I've ever made. I spent 6 months telling her to bug her off. We just celebrated 17 years together to the day, October 14th.
It's pretty awesome.
She was right.
Yeah.
But all right, so at this point, I mean, we've got an hour left, and I can't do the Silent Halls terrain today because my bucket of Silent Hall stuff has gone missing, of course. But I can work on some urban terrain, and I'm willing to do that if folks want to watch it. But otherwise, again, one of the great things about the Workbench Wednesday broadcast is trying to meet your requests, and we want to try and get you into the habit of that too. So I may set up to do some terrain here, but keep your ideas coming too.
Yeah, and I'll be around to be able to read off questions while you're working on those and
sounds good.
Give you a general proctoring.
Okay.
Yeah. So I suppose you'd like the actual seed.
Yeah, at this point I'll need the actual seed. Of course, out of habit, I was looking over to the left where my whiteboard used to be because that's where these sketches for my urban terrain are. Yes, I do this too. So the space off to my left here, and I'll take you guys on a Blair Witch ride here in just a second, used to be my whiteboard, and I had piles and piles and piles. I didn't actually use it as a whiteboard. I used it as a magnet board. Piles and piles and piles of concept art and whatnot up there. And of course now I use it to organize tools and make people blind. So I've got my cups, my first shelf. I've got other shelves that are going up there, and then all of my Reaper medals up there at the top because I like them so much. Very proud of those wins. Thank you. Now that we've made everybody motion sick. But that's all right. I have electronic copies of those sketches here somewhere, and I actually think I intentionally tossed one under my desk. Well, I know I did, but even that's gone.
I still have sand all over me.
From the base full of sand. I must have thrown that on the top when it was drying, and that's the excess. Sorry about that. I don't, but it just kept leaking. I really expected it to be done. Nope, even my sketch is missing. All right. I like to minimize everything for a sec. Open it up electronically. And of course, they're watching me stare at the screen too as I chew on my teeth.
As we both do that, yeah.
Where'd it go?
You only think you scanned them.
No, I know I did. I just don't know what folder I put the darn thing in.
You've only got a few dozen folders here, too.
Yeah, and there's... yeah. Well, heck with it. I'll wing this too. Goodness knows I've stared at that concept art long enough that I do have some idea what that should look like.
Let's see. Jess is asking for a demo with the Verdigris paints. And Brian is asking about some orky terrain and would love to see your interpretations of those.
Yeah, actually, let's do that instead of the terrain. Those are requests. I love it. Let's toss some paint in this direction so we can clean up that mess. I don't know. Never. And I'm going to take these bases and toss them that way. This one is tatami mats. So
please don't toss that one.
Yeah, I know. So now we look around and we're like, that was the 95 by 120 and I lost it. Yeah. All right. So
I'll probably end up taking those prime bases and putting them up.
Well, that's fine. Verdigris. Oh, in fact, I need one of these. Where'd that urban base go?
You tossed it, remember?
I know. That was dumb. Wait.
Let's scrap
Did I toss the night one too?
You tossed all of them.
I thought so.
I don't know where the last one went.
I might not have tossed that one because we were using that to dem, though.
I thought you did. I could have sworn I saw it go in this general direction.
Well, of course. Now it's lost forever.
Of course.
It's with the pigment fixer.
Yeah.
And my
it's right here.
house bits. Oh, good. All right, this colorful thing, and I need my metallic paints and my verdigris. Might as well split this. Pow! And take some copper fixtures. And some brass casings.
Don't even need to brush the paint with the secret weapon paints. You just pour it on and it works. Let's see. Jonathan would also love to see Orky terrain, and someday it would be nice to see steampunk or industrial terrain or models that you do.
So, sorry. There was a word. You got me. You lost me. All right, so let's see. I would love to do some Orky terrain, and I can do some of that today. I'd have to wing it, but I can wing some of that. Industrial terrain, I can totally do. I love doing industrial terrain, and I actually need to do an industrial scene for the Zero Fighter mech from Industria Mechanica that I'm going to be doing. Just waiting on that, or waiting to get back to that. But steampunk is just Victorian with pipes on it. There are no gears. Steam doesn't need a bunch of gears.
Just glue a gear on it.
There's a great song I recommend on YouTube. Yeah, great music video. Slap some gears on it and call it steampunk. And yeah.
Well, I would love to see some.
I will be doing a steampunky bass theme.
I want to say mechanicalized Victorian element sort of terrain and basing options. As Turn A Gundam is one of my favorite series, and it's a very Victorian-esque setting with then suddenly technology.
Yeah, and that'd be a great example where they're strapping it onto existing buildings.
Yeah.
And that's where I say, like, steampunk for me would be Victorian buildings with pipes and stuff, like, slapped on them.
Yeah.
The way that you see an old Victorian in Sacramento, here, we've got a lot of old Victorians, and the ones that are privately owned, and not public buildings, yeah, you'll see, you know, phone cables and also satellite dish and everything, and
I love these verdigris colors too.
So do I. I also love finding my.
Oh, you found them? Yeah, nice.
Those are in my. They were in my paint.
Yeah,
I want this remodel to be over.
It's a place for them.
That is a place for them. Somehow they wound up buried in the paint pile. All right. Well, at least I have those. They're precious to me. And seriously, who wouldn't want this cute little... this cute little fleur-de-lis square?
Oh, that is so adorable.
Milk. All right, anything else in here that I've been missing for months? Hey, look, 6 bottles of pigment fixer. Oh.
If only.
Yeah, that's not true.
I used those greens for my Grimoire Red Beret to paint it up.
I was going to pull out the pigments, of course.
Of course.
Well, sewage muck is empty. That's right. I never replaced this after Jess was here, and we used my entire packet to do the green cement for Hey Hey. The most expensive green cement coloring ever. Like, oh wow, it's a beautiful green. What did you color it with? Real verdigris. There we go. What you did? All right. But first. Alright, so verdigris, pale green, making a little wash. Well, first, I'll do a little bit of stippling. I was going to ask you to grab the foam out of there, but I was fairly certain it was never going back. So I'm using my brush technique, or sponge technique, and I'm going to hit both of these pieces.
Don't mind me, I'm just adjusting things for you.
Thank you. On the just on their raised areas. Doing a little more heavily on the brass because the brass is going to weather differently. And this gives you that wonderful brass oxidization fade. You can see how it gets just pale instead of speckly, where the copper color gets speckly. And that's our start. And then, of course, I'm going to make a little wash. More washy. I'm actually going to clean off my brush there because I don't want excess water. I want my wash. And put this up at a bit of an angle because I want it to flow into this corner. So I'm going to go pew and scrape along some edges into those corners. Not everywhere. I want some room for the pigments later. But I really want it here where it's closest to the dirt at this edge, because I'm still pulling all my colors in this way, see? Keeping the whole piece in alignment, even though it's just a little demo. It's funny that 66 Olds that I'm so well known for now started out the same way. It was just a demo piece. That's why there's so many incongruous bits on it, like the new fender versus the peeling hood or roof. Now in the case of the brass, I'm actually going to pull this as a wash over the full surface, a glaze, excuse me. Pull off my excess moisture, and you should see that it's greening the brass for me. And I've done it in opposite corners here, again to keep that bright color coming around this way. I'm going to add some blue. This is the verdigris blue. And in just a couple little spots, we've got my excess moisture. This is mostly for my brass right now. Works well on bright tones. I like using the blues when I'm doing red orcs with rusty components. I like using my blues. There we go. Yeah, like actual verdigris, like real verdigris pigment. Like I said, the most expensive concrete decoration I've ever done.
You're pretty hardcore at times.
It's only ad. Like, oh, how do we make it green? Because hey, it can't go into gray. It's like, oh, I've got a bottle full of verdigris. Of course I do. I have so many pigments. It's kind of ridiculous.
You got another one just hiding over here too.
Oh, okay, the faded blue is there. That's good. That's what I was looking for. Now there's pigments hiding on my desk. Okay, I put my palette knife away before the show. There we go. So in this case, I'm going to make a wash with pigments. Because we're on camera, I'm going to use the isopropyl. And because I still haven't been able to find my 2 bottles of pigment fixer, I don't want to go get more from the warehouse because that just seems silly.
Especially since I was there this morning and could have grabbed one for you.
Still, they're here somewhere.
I believe you. I believe that you believe they are here.
Yeah. You saw them. It's part of my delusion too.
Yeah.
Playing along, keeping me calm.
Well, the thing is, I'm not really here either.
Oh. It'll be one of those days. Alright, so I made the wash out of isopropyl. Again, when I'm in classes, when I'm on camera, I like the isopropyl because it dries very quickly. I can speed that along with just my airbrush, and that's great, and it all works out. It is the fastest, easiest way to strip paint, so don't brush it about. Dab. And remember, particularly the light blue here is going to be difficult to see while it's wet. And don't dab an area twice until it dries, even if then, because you are asking for trouble and increasing the likelihood that you will accidentally strip paint. I'm going to ignore that rule because I can.
Do as you say, not as you do.
Absolutely. I can tell you from my experience that what I'm doing is dumb.
Hey, sometimes dumb works.
Well, it totally works.
Yeah.
That'll make it less dumb. Alright, I'm just going to add some patina blue right to that mix right there. Because there is no reason to waste the liquid. And again, I mean, I don't need much. Don't even need that much. Now, because I used isopropyl, I over-applied the pigment a bit, but because I used isopropyl, I may not be able to use a subtractive technique, which is what I'm hoping to do here. But in this case, it may be so embedded that all I've done is gotten it wet, and it'll be back in a sec.
Looks like it diminished a little bit.
Yeah, and I can come back and I can clean that up some more, but for now it'll do. Let's see if I can get this into the right range here. Talk about a verdigris. Oh yeah, right there. It's almost like the focus is perfectly set for me to pick it up and show you the details. So you can see where our washes and our stippling have done a good job of creating that faded look here. But for making it heavier, coming in with a dry pigment to get that very, well, dry powdery look. In the case of the brass, it's almost entirely glazing with the two verdigris colors. And then I threw on the blue here for a little color harmony between all of this, because hey, I stuck to all the blues, because it's color harmony, it's still going in a circle. Oh man.
And it still all looks really nice along with the gray of everything else.
Yeah, it's still a pretty cool little setting here. Now I would want to clean up a bit more of this pigment. I really did over apply it here at the top. There shouldn't be that much at the top, especially.
Just don't strip the paint.
Yeah, worst come to worst, I mean I can touch that up, so it's not a big deal. I am so glad I found something that was actually supposed to be here. It's huge. So that was the verdigris. Orky-wise, yeah, I'd have to get into my plastic card. I don't think I'm going to do Orky terrain today, just because it means getting access to my plastic card, which is currently not organized. Because the remodel, it's all just sitting in a drawer in the closet.
Well, we add that to the list of future streams.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, come prepared.
I would actually, Jess Rich asked why I didn't use the green in the verdigris trio. First, because it's under Hey Hey. I don't have any. The second, because of color harmony and no other reason. If I had some of that dark green, I would have used it in this triad, and particularly not as realism would dictate, but in keeping with this line here, I probably would have done that dark green up here. That transition would be nice. Get a nice little. Bring it all down like this. We've got that line. The line here. Put a little thing. I don't know. Getting way too into this base. That's all right. It's fun. I'm having a good time.
That's the important part.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And
as long as
Wednesday is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
But that and introducing you guys to products and techniques and ideas and stuff that sit on the desk. So.
My particular degree of sarcastic humor with you.
Well, there is that. All right. Verdigris.
Yeah, you're caught up on the chat there.
Yep. All right. So, terrain. Let me start with some urban terrain pieces here. First thing I need to do is not have enough room to start.
Oh boy.
And that's how we died. Let me go ahead and be a little wasteful for the sake of the camera. Pardon me. Back up a bit.
Be careful, he's got a knife.
And I'm not afraid to use it.
Glad you're practicing the safe method of always cut towards yourself. Always cut towards your assistant.
Yes. We were both trying to catch it, and one of us had a knife. All right. For a lot of this stuff, I really like starting with foam core. Rather, a lot of the pieces that I'm going to be building right now, I'm going to start with foam core. I'm using some old, fast, cheap techniques because at the moment, at least, I'm doing these as test pieces, much like I did with the emplacement. I'll bring that emplacement back to show you. So again, this is the existing 6x6 turret and weapon. This comes with our 6x6 vehicle kit. You can get on the website with a whole bunch of different weapons. But this was the emplacement piece that I built for it. And this is a chunk of burning resin. I mean, it's hefty.
You could hurt somebody with that thing.
You really could. And I'll look at whether or not we want to hollow it out and do it that way. But I'm looking at terrain in this style and theme, kind of universal urban. So it'll work for the Infinity crowd, it'll work for the 40K crowd, no problem. For that matter, hopefully it'll work for the This Is Not a Test crowd. A little post-apocalyptic awesomeness.
Yeah, everybody enjoys a little bit of post-apocalyptic.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
I was just watching blah, 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 blah the other day, and yeah.
Have you seen?
Not that one.
Oh, okay. Well, you should try that out. It's on Crunchyroll.
Is that the one with the psychic tire or something? True story, folks. Robert. It was weird when I got here. All right, so I have... Actually, this is an interesting opportunity to talk about specialized tools, too. Because I have rulers.
For days.
I have such rulers. Such rulers as these. That's just a long ruler. Put that back. Mostly, I have metal rulers. It's my flexible stainless. So many of those. That's my little paint guy sticks. All right, you're one of those. You're just an old ruler. These two are Monica's rulers that somehow wound up in my bin. Okay, I'm like, where'd the wood rulers come from? So first, here's a fun one, too. People have asked about the heat triad that we make, the secret weapon heat triad. And the first time I demoed that, I demoed it on this ruler. And yes, the ruler actually looks hot, which is fun.
That is really nice.
We make nice paint.
Yeah. I can't wait to use those on that cloud model kit I picked up this weekend.
Oh, nice. So, I have 2 generic stainless flex rulers. But the one I use most often is the Precision that actually ends at the end, so you don't have that extra gap that every other ruler in the world seems to want to stick a ½ centimeter on the end or something for you. So I use this more than anything. It's also the only one that's always going to be clean on the bottom, and what I'm going to be using today. But I also have a collection, only a couple of which are in here right now, scale references. So, although this talks about being a railroad reference, I've got my 1/24th scale right here. So, O scale is 1/48th, which incidentally is our scale. I know everyone wants to argue that it's 1/56th, but you can thank the heroic scale for changing that. The simple matter is you stick a 1/56th Jersey barrier next to a Space Marine and it looks tiny. It comes up to his knee. Gotta be O scale. But yeah, so here's the O scale. HO scale is 3.5, so the HO scale is with the 1/14.7 or something.
Yeah,
I always
it's a
forget
weird
HO
scale.
exactly.
I know N is 160 because I use that for
1/160.
I use that for a lot of Gundam stuff. And I can't remember what the one for 1/100 is at the moment,
But yeah, all the little scales are on here. And then I've got my lumber gauge. Same thing, so if I'm looking for different scales, I can actually check to see that it works. So my O gauge, boom, 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 here's my 12-inch lumber, 10-inch, 8-inch, 6-inch. Yeah, and that's going to keep it easy for me when I was trying to put pieces like this together. On the other side, different scales.
that's really nice.
Yeah.
I'll need to pick one of those up for myself.
Yeah, these are some fun tools.
I'm still working on outfitting my little workshop with different tools and trying to figure out everything I need to get.
So, one of the easiest ways that I enjoy ensuring I'm getting the scale I want is actually with a figure on its base, because I can measure, but it's also kind of important to know where it's going to fit with a figure. And again, this is all quick and dirty test work because I want to try a couple of ideas. I want to see where we're going to have trouble casting them. I want to see what works and what doesn't with my material limitations. And I want that wall to be, well, that's not true. I want this wall to be higher. So the half wall is going to be here. And here. Oh, good, that didn't take. Because I'm using coated foam core today. Alright. Let's get a different Sharpie. Seriously? It's a magical day that no pen is going to do anything for me. I see it now. Holy cats. Alright. And then I want a double height of that. So, here. And I want that to be 40 millimeters. Hey, look, a 40 millimeter base.
How convenient.
It's one of the 40 millimeter faces bases.
We'll work on that. Road to Hell.
I still just want to call them faces bases, but yes, it'll be Road to Hell.
I still like Eclipse. I think Eclipse works for that.
I just want everyone to sit around saying faces bases all the time.
Well, like they probably will. Come up to the
See
booth.
secret weapon faces bases?
Yeah, just come up to the booth at Adepticon and be like, "Hey, I need some face bases."
Faces bases. sure that's square. Haha, it is. Alright. So, and then... I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? I said I was doing some cheap ass stuff. Cheap ass stuff.
Very nice artistic brick pattern that you created.
Yeah, I'm cutting out here. So I suppose I should talk about what I'm doing. Since I don't have the artwork to share with you guys, my concept art only appeared today, such as it is.
One day we'll get that HDMI to brain attachment.
Yeah, it'll be super great. But in this case, I'm going to build a section of wall. So it's going to be a little corner step-up firing point. And I'm actually going to need a second one of the taller walls. Yes. Yes, I am. So let me do this again. And what I'm doing is measuring out the foam components for that. And of course, I don't have my foam glue in here, but I do have pins and I do have wood glue, and that'll work out just fine for now. Or I can dry fit and give you guys the idea for what we're doing. But I'm gonna need another 40mm section. Alright. You here, make sure that line is straight. And I don't worry about overmarking my coated foam core, because in this case I can always use isopropyl to wipe it off. In this case, like hot foam cutting tools and stuff like that are not going to work. If I understand the question correctly from Aviad, because it's coated, there's actually that thick board on here. So it would cut the foam, but it would just get stuck on this. And in the case of foam core, thick components like this, you want to stick with your ruler, and you want to score it repeatedly. Fresh blade, changed often when you're working on large sections. And you want to run that through until you're sure that you are messing up your desk.
The cutting mats are full.
Seen that lately?
That's why
it was on Seamus' desk.
That's why mine's taped to the desk.
Oh.
Well, that until I can have the camera positioned exactly where I want it to be, and I know where my cutout line is.
That's fair. Make sure you're square.
Foam Rex are all those blue angle cutters, so you get exact 90-degree cuts, etc.
Oh.
Which actually sounds kind of fun to play with.
Yeah, that would be a fun thing to play with. There are a lot of awesome tools like that on the market that I just haven't spent money on because I'm an old school modeler. It's actually one of the segments that I'm going to wind up doing separately. I talked about opening with my Grumpy Modeler segment every week for this.
So we just get like fake beards for that and just be like, rah, 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 rah.
Well, I think about, Jason Weeby, Jason Eaton. Jason Eaton is the wrong example. Jason Eaton is someone who is doing his best to collect the techniques of grumpy old modelers and preserve them and do awesome things with them. But Jason and Bobby and Michael Fichtenmayer, and there's a bunch of stuff that we kind of take for granted. Like, well, of course everyone knows this. And then it comes around as new. And I forget what the example was recently where, oh, using talc, like somebody was talking about using talc with superglue, with cyanoacrylite. So you take cyanoacrylite, you put it into a gap, you sprinkle talc on top of that, you let it dry, and then you can sand that, and you have a nice hard gap fill. And people were freaking out about it. And then I think it was Weeby that chimed in, like, yeah, I've been teaching that every year at ReaperCon for like 8 years. And I'm like, yeah, that's something I do pretty much every big model I ever build. They're like, what? How could we not know this? And it's like, I don't know. And so I started looking around for a bunch of these old techniques, and sure enough, they weren't on the internet. I could not find them. Okay, I don't need 2 of these. That's where I was missing. I need 1 of these. But that's alright.
It's an easy problem to fix.
Yeah, I'll cut both out and oh no, I have a square. I have a 40K size square sitting around on my desk. What am I going to do with that?
You'll realize halfway through doing this that you did actually need that after all, and you're quite thankful for having it. Are you bleeding already? Apparently.
Apparently. Or is it pigment from my towel? We'll assume it's pigment from my towel because I don't appear to be bleeding. But that's exciting. I wonder if people in the back are like, oh my god, like it's gonna bleed out. So yeah, hey Foamworks, if you're watching, if you'd like me to do a review of your product, hey, let me know. I would love to.
A fun little factoid that reminded me of, it's against Twitch's terms of service to bleed on camera.
So that pretty much bans model makers,
right? Like,
who doesn't bleed during a good build?
I bled so much during that speed build of the PG Wing Zero.
All right. So, as I start dry fitting, I'll actually get my magnet tools here in a minute. I can put together what's going to be the corner of this wall. I want a section to come out past it. And I could have left that on there, so I will. I'll go ahead and cut another section. Come out past it like this, so this is going to be the overall shape of the wall. That's too big.
Just adjust that.
So it's hang on, you're tipping.
Yeah, no, I was tipping it so people could see it.
Oh, okay.
Rather than just top down.
That's fair. So my debate then is whether to do it as just a corner with a step up or add a runner off to the side or both sides. And I actually feel like that's going to be too big, so I'm probably just going to do it as the single height piece like this. Call it a day.
Yeah.
Alright, so I will start with that. In which case, it's back to the foam. I don't need these to be square, but now I do want clean edges. One unit. And that's where I'm going to score this time, not cut. I'll show you guys why in just a second if you haven't already guessed.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I know that's a nice flat edge over there, so I will line that up until I find ink. Cutting on the inside of that because remember I drew on the outside. Score. 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 Touchdown. That's how that works, right?
Yeah. I've seen the sports ball.
Wampo called me out for that not too long ago because it turns out most people use it as a derisive or even derogatory term. And I certainly wasn't. I just was trying to make it clear, like, I do not follow the sports balls. Any of them. Like, pick a sports ball.
Yeah.
Justin, what's your favorite team? And no. My favorite team is none. And I haven't found a nice alternative yet.
I think it depends on the sport too, because you could always go like hand egg.
Yes. So, I've got my definitely not square edge, which is great. Not a problem. I like it. Bend this now, and I get my corner more easily. I have to worry less about glue. And what I can do is start building up inside of that. I do need to get my character marker in here again, remembering that the character is going to be on a base, and I want the head to be able to stick out over the top. So let me also find, in fact, I'll grab one of my Vostroyans in a firing position and make sure that he can stick out right there over the top. Just going to put this platform right here. Following that line. So this is my build up to point, and I'll need to get some stairs coming down off of that. Alright, so let's see. For that, I'm going to have a large platform. It's going to break off here. I'm actually going to cut another piece of, you guessed it, foam core. This time I may not actually need to cut anything. I can just do that, pin that, glue that, and I've got the start of his firing platform. Ooh, too low.
Yeah, probably good to give it a little bit extra height, just for different model positioning.
That's right, I just need to be on top of that foam. Yeah, I should have a space marine nearby, but I don't seem to.
You've got, I don't want those sniper dudes.
Sniper dude!
And, oh, here's a space marine. Most of one.
Here's most of a, that's most of a second edition Spaz Marine too. It's one of my ancient beakies that Seamus got his hands on and started gluing them together for me.
How about a gaunt? Oh, here's the modern space marine.
There we go, I'll take the space marine. Alright, so put that flat there. Yep, everybody can see over the top from that point. So, at the top of that glue, that is not level, that is level.
Yeah, like a really tiny little level.
And what I will do, let's see if I can get the fine point Sharpie. That's why I keep multiple colors of Sharpie around. Because I'm going to need to pin this in 2 spots. This is going to be that day where I can't find my paperclip container because of the remodel.
Of course.
Of course, yeah, it's probably under this giant growing pile of stuff that I need to organize.
There's another base down there.
Yeah, hey look, base we were weathering last time. More pigments. It's so exciting. Do I have wire to pin with? No, of course not. This is what we get for improvising. Yeah, it's not going to be on his side.
Yeah, it might have been something.
He was not particularly interested in paper clips for some reason.
What about Monica?
There could be a paper clip on her desk, or a pile of paper clips. She is a teacher with a giant collection and stash of paper clips.
And it'll be great when this remodel is done.
Yeah, I know. It'll be so great when the remodel is done and things are where they're supposed to be.
For like a week.
Oh, I hope that's not true. Alright, well, you'll see the points where I'm pinning it. Keep my rough edge out. I'm going to pin it with the smooth edge in. And at this point, it gives me the frame on which to build from. I will take this area, fill it with some rubble. I would like to be able to get a character underneath it as well.
Which looks like that will work.
Yeah. Yeah. I did measure. So this is going to get us a character on a base underneath it and a character on top. I'll have the staircase running down on one side to get them up there, or at least a ladder if we decide that I'm going to make this very flat. We can have a ladder coming up to this point. And of course, I'll come in with scissors and whatnot and break this off, the top of this, rough it up, before I start adding bricks.
Paper clip, it looks like, right there.
That's an airbrush now.
Oh. It is very bent.
Yes, it's the one I use for cleaning my airbrush. Well, that's just the end of it. It's the...
Oh, okay.
Yes. So it's the needle I use now for poking out bottles. But it used to be an airbrush needle. And that's why it's bent, is so that I never pick it up and, accidentally use it. But in terms of tools, here's a fun one for you. I've got a bunch of clay shaping tools that I actually use a lot for projects like this as well. Because I can poke a nice hole this way in my foam core for when I'm doing work like this. Seamus has some of those too. Okay, I saw one of those on Seamus' desk. But chisels and clay shaping tools are great for a lot of this. So yeah, I will actually get to this in earnest once I find my paper clips and get a chance to get the basics down for this. But you'll get to see how I'm creating something like the urban emplacements. And we'll have the wall section for people to shoot on or under. On screen, I suppose. Yeah, nice little...
little options.
Yeah, small terrain options. And yeah, that's my goal for the next couple of builds. Now that I did find my... completely blank. Silent Hall's resin components. I'll be able to get to work on some objectives and terrain markers for that. Or rather, terrain and objective markers for the Silent Halls line as well. So definitely stay tuned for a lot more terrain builds. I'll be doing a lot of that.
That'll be a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah. Any last questions from the audience before we wind this down and send you guys off to your, well, hopefully happy hobbying and not back to work after lunch. But
yeah. Well, it has been a lot of fun, as usual.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in again this week. And if it was your first time joining us, I hope you'll come back next week, ready to ask questions and have fun.
Make sure to hit like and subscribe so you get notifications whenever Justin goes live.
Please do, please do. And I had a topic for next week. What was that?
Well, topic for next week is going to be the remodeling of this office.
Oh, that's right. That's why it seemed weird, is that next week there won't be an episode because...
well, we could do it for the living room.
Something, yeah, we'll figure something
We'll build
out.
some Gundam kits on the kitchen table.
There you go, something. It'll be a good time. So, for the moment, plan on staying tuned for next week. And again, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Happy hobbying.